So welcome to part one. What makes a good story? Fiction.
Check this out.
Okay, so no matter what type of fiction that you're writing, the most important part of this story is the plot. The plot is basically what the story is about, right? What are we watching our characters do? Why do we care what they're doing from point A to B? Without a strong plot or storyline, you're probably going to lose your reader. The second really important part of a story is the setting. The setting is sometimes called world building. It really just depends on the genre you write. But at the end of the day, the setting could even be like another character in the book. If you're writing small town or sci-fi fantasy paranormal, again, the town kind of becomes a character and takes on a life of its own. But no matter what kind of story you write, where it is set is really going to matter to your reader, whether it helps them relate to it, ground them into the story, but your setting is very important, and it's really good to know where your story is taking place so that the reader can really immerse themselves in your world. The next thing I want to talk about is your characters, character development. Oh man, I'm sure we know how important characters are to your story. They are who we're following through the plot, through this world you've built, right? So we want to make sure your characters are fully developed. I really hate when writers say, well, I've written fiction, so I can just make up whatever I want, even if it's unrealistic. Wrong. Fiction, as we know, is always based on some part of reality, right? So your characters need to feel real, the plot has to feel plausible, and there are other parts in the story as well that's going to feed into this, and that is the language and dialogue of your book. So it's not just what your characters are doing in the story, it's also what they're saying. The language and dialogue that you use is super important, and the dialogue should be a technique that you're using to help move your plot along. All these pieces work together. So sometimes if you see an editor or an agent say, I couldn't really connect to the character, probably their motivations, their inner narration, or the things that they're saying is just not moving the plot along, or the plot might not be strong enough. But a lot of times an author feels like they need to add dialogue, but the dialogue is not really helping anything. And so it ends up feeling stiff, unnatural, and it makes it difficult for your reader to connect to the characters. So make sure anything the characters are saying or thinking, yes, it should feed into the plot, but it should feel realistic in tone. And the final thing I want to talk about is the author's style and voice. This is detrimental to a book's success or failure. Something that I know a lot of authors get frustrated by is when an editor or agent says, I just don't feel the hook. There's no hook here to make this story stand out. In my opinion, okay, everybody has their own opinion. In my opinion, I think your style, your point of view is what makes a hook, okay? I'm sure we have seen lots of books out there that didn't feel that new, but somehow they took off people, gravitated to them, they sold, they flew off the shelves, and everybody's like, well, that's been done before. This has been done. I promise it's the voice. It's their voice. It was something that just compelled the reader to just flip those pages, even if their idea isn't revolutionary. So sometimes when editors and agents say, what's the hook? It's what you bring to the table, your unique style, your unique spin, how you craft those characters, the things they say. It may not be the most original plot, but there's something there in your voice that compels the reader in the perspective of your characters that really pulls them in and holds them for the story. And there you have it. These are the elements that I think are super important to make up a story, especially fiction. A lot of these things can also be applied to nonfiction, but I will talk about that in my next video. Thank you for watching.